Evening, everyone. Very happy to be here. My name is Dan Eddy. I'm the Assistant Chief of Operations for San Diego Fire. I work directly underneath Chief Logan, and was at the fire that day. Got there about 7 minutes after it started, 10 minutes after it started. I was driving up the 15 and I saw it pop up in my queue, and then looked in the back of my rear view and could see the header, as we call it header, the smoke coming straight up from it, and realized I should probably turn around on the 15 right now. So tonight, basically, we're going to be doing a two-part presentation. On the first part, I'll be talking about the response itself, what occurred, what we did as the fire department, and working in conjunction with others. The second half of the presentation tonight will be by Assistant Fire Marshal Alex Kane, down there at the end, and he'll be talking about defensible space and things that you can do. We'll also be talking about what occurred for ignition points on that fire. So. Technical difficulty here. Oh, there it is. All right. All right, so intro, I just introduced myself. I've been with San Diego Fire Department now 25 years. I went on my first ride along when I was 16. My house actually, when I was a kid, burned to the ground. Not a sad thing, it's okay. Burned to the ground, and it made me really look into the fire service and started riding along when I was 16 years old, and have never looked back since then. I currently work as the Assistant Chief of Operations, so that means I oversee the daily operations of the fire department. San Diego City covers from the border to Escondido, across the ocean, and on average we run about 230,000 calls a year. So we take a call about every 46 seconds at our dispatch center to go to a response. We're going to go over our operations response like I've talked about, the apparatus and partners that came with us, the footprint of what occurred, evacuations. We'll talk about our home ignition zones, a little case study, and then at the end it looks like we have about 3,000 questions. And we'll try to go through all of those if we can. I promise you we're going to try to get to everything we can. So, all right, so on that day, October 31st, right? If you look at it right now, the weather report at 1:35 was 70 degrees, 57% relative humidity, winds were 8 miles per hour, 0 wind gusts, 0, right? Okay, a typical beautiful San Diego day, as we like to say. So if we watch the video here, this is from engine 17 as they were going up the hill on the fire. And you can see the smoke coming through. It's about halfway through the canyon. As they come up here to the second grove, it starts rolling through. And then you can see it clearing on the other side where it has not gone through and burned yet. Okay? You'll see them come up the hill here. They pass by engine 26. They're heading actually to the north side because the fire started spotting to the north on us. But I want to show you in that video there, right there, it's going to end here in a second, about 45-second video of how quickly that fire was burning, right? The intensity and the heat behind it. And I want you to think of that, the intensity and heat that was behind it, based on the fact that we had 0 wind gusts, 75 degrees, right? Simple San Diego day. So crews first arrived on scene. It was engine 17 that arrived on scene. If any of you read the Union Tribune, a couple days later, I gave large praise to Captain Dallas Higgins. He works over here at 17s. He's a senior captain on our job. And immediately, he has worked this area, I'd say, 5 or 6 years now in a row. Worked here as a firefighter, worked as an engineer, now he's a captain in engine 17. He rolled up on scene, found the corner down there at the bottom, and the size up that he gave was engine 17 is on scene. I have a 3 to 4 acre fire, moderate rate of spread to fast rate of spread, and medium to heavy fuel. I need an immediate fixed wing response. And that was incredibly important because a fixed wing response for us is a CAL FIRE response for them to get them rolling. As you all know, when you're trying to leave San Diego Airport, it doesn't exactly go quickly, right? The same thing with a fixed wing response. They run out, they spool up the engines, they start getting going, and what they get is 1 lead plane, 2 fixed wing plane with them, right? We're actually getting a C-130 in town this week that will be here permanently moving forward, which will be a great resource for us from CAL FIRE. He asked for a fixed wing response, he asked for a helicopter response. We also asked for 5 strike teams. A strike team for us is 5 engines, like kind. So you can have brush engines, which are your off-road engines that you normally see, or you can have Type 1 apparatus. Type 1 are here on the left that you see every day on the streets. No off-road capabilities, they're what you see running around the city of San Diego every day. 2 hand crews. Hand crews are the ones that you see digging the line around the edges of the fire as they're going through it. And then multiple overhead. So overhead for us is op support, we have water tenders, we have specialty apparatus, and then multiple chiefs are going to be responding to it too, to take over divisions and other things, as I'll show as I go forward. The key thing with this is our response times. Captain Higgins did a great job in ensuring that he called that fixed wing right away. For us, it's usually a 15 to 20 minute response before they get overhead. So calling that 15 to 20 minute, somebody's got it going, right? All right, sorry, I heard the phone going there. So 15, 20 minute response, the quicker we can call for that order, the much better it's gonna be for all of us, right? And the helicopters. For us, the City of San Diego, we currently have 2 helicopters in the City of San Diego that we use, and then we use our outside resources from CAL FIRE, Sheriff's Department, will come and help us on that response. So we also ask for more helicopters. That's the response units that came, okay? So 350 plus personnel. If you look at the top there, that is all the single engines. If you see where it says an XSD 6430C, and these are all the things that I geek out on, right? Acronyms, terms, whatever. Okay? An XSD 6430C, it looks like one unit. That's not. That's a strike team. So that's 5 engines within just that one single moniker, with a chief bringing them along on that fire. Okay? For us, it's 350 personnel that came like that. That's the beauty of what we have in a mutual aid resource in San Diego. I go across the United States, I work with multiple departments from East Coast, West Coast, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Canada, all over the place. What we have in California, and especially across the entire state with our mutual aid system, is something I don't see anywhere else across the world, basically, too. The fact that we can get resources like this on scene so quickly is amazing. It's seamless for us. And the reason why is if you look down at the bottom, you see all the different agencies that responded with us, right? San Diego City, CAL FIRE, Miramar, San Miguel, Rancho Santa Fe, Lemon Grove, Spring Valley, Carlsbad. The reason why that's important is because for us, like I said, we are running 230,000 calls a year. They are also running calls throughout the year. So what we have to do is ensure that all the rest of the cities are taken care of while we're running these calls. And a big thing for us, why I put Spring Valley Fire Response, at that same exact time, CAL FIRE and San Miguel had a 40-acre response off the 94 and 125 that they said had a potential for 500. So at that same time, we had to commit those resources to move them around their region to ensure that everybody else was still getting medical aids, to ensure everybody else in traffic accidents, another brush fire occurs, any of those other things. So the mutual aid resources that we have are amazing to work with one another to ensure that we have everything in hand. So 350 plus personnel. We also had San Diego PD, SCSU PD, Sheriffs, San Diego OES, Red Cross. I give a huge shout out if there's anybody here from Hardy Elementary. I just say thank you, huge thank you, because we took over your school in 3 minutes basically. And we told you, get everyone out right now, right? And you said, here's the parking lot, here's the bathrooms, you guys need waters. Hardy Elementary was great to us, and I have to put that out there right now because I didn't get a chance to talk to anyone that night. I went home about 3 in the morning and my eyes were doing a little blink, right? And I forgot to say anything to Hardy, but tonight I wanted to call them out for how well they treated us for taking over. So if you look through all those units, we have our regular ground resources that we have, and then for our air resources. In the end, we use 2 fixed wings, 4 helicopters, in conjunction with CAL FIRE helping us out on that, and that helped us to mitigate that fire and push it back. For a split second at the start, because of, later on you'll see in a picture, because of the way that the smoke was rising, we couldn't get fixed wing drops on the south end of it. And we couldn't get it because they're not going to fly through the middle of smoke, right? It's not attainable. So that's where the copters coming in and giving us those low drops and taking care of it helped us out. For us, so this is an image. So when I talk about the resources here in California and what we can do for one another, when there are fires that break in the state of California, whether it be Southern or Northern California, an air resource is launched high above everything else, and it basically immediately starts to give us an image of what is on fire, where our heat signatures are, where it's going to go. So this is just a couple minutes into the fire, I'd say probably 45 minutes into the fire, of the heat signatures as it was running. For us as a fire department, we do things we call it anchor, flank, and pinch. Sounds great, right? Good little term, anchor, flank, and pinch. And what that means is when you look up there and you see that orange arrow towards the top, My daughter said it's yellow, I think it looks orange. But the orange, yellow at the top, where those two meet, that's where we anchor the fire. We anchor it, we flank it, and we try to pinch it at the top, right? So what we'll establish is at the top, that'll be what we call Division Alpha. On the bottom where it's red, that's Division Zulu. So like this, nice big V, right? And then we fill it in with divisions. So the blue that you see up there on the blue triangles, those would be divisions. We would call those Division Mike, Division Nancy, Division Tango, all different divisions. And each one of those has a specific duty that they're doing. They have a specific area that they're covering. And so when this fire was going on, we established Alpha and Zulu on either side. My biggest worry when I was on scene that day, of course, was the south side, right? It was pulling south, pushing towards the east, pushing hard towards the east, so the vast majority of our resources were sent to that south side. As we got about 45 minutes into it, if you look at the top of the screen, what do we got at the top of the screen? Nice little dots rolling there, right? Ember casting started flowing it to that north side, and when I go back and say that, I say when I say 0 gusts of wind, 3 to 7 miles an hour. Okay, when I was on the cedar fire, when I came on the job a couple of years into it, there was ember casting going 2 miles because of the wind behind it, right? We were lucky on this, but the ember casting that we had pushed it to that north side for us. We started to see the smoke pattern changing to the north and started seeing fire conditions on the north and started sending engines that way. That video that you saw earlier was engine 17 coming up there, and they were heading to the north side to start taking that. But the vast majority of Division Mike, Division Bravo, all in between there, those were homes. We were trying to put everything we could on a home. And I will give huge credit to the firefighters who were on that front. They took a beating when they were up there on the hill. There was a lot of heat coming their way. But I will tell you, from being a 25-year firefighter and working my way up through the ranks, it's my favorite thing in the world. I'm not gonna lie. It is why we're here. I came here to help people, support people, and make your life better, right? And all firefighters out there, that's what we're out there for. And so the firefighters that were there did the same exact thing. So we established our flanks, started anchoring and pinching it and trying to push it forward. Crews did a great job in holding it back on the houses. I'll be honest with you, when I pulled up on scene, I had about 9 units on scene when I first got on scene. I expected us to lose 15 to 20 homes. I did. I expected it with the conditions that I had in that canyon and the draw that it was making, I expected us to lose homes. I wasn't happy about it, I'll tell you that much. But in my history of being in this department, that's what I expected I saw. But the crews did a phenomenal job to get ahead of it. So evacuations, I'm going to cover this real quick, but San Diego PD is here too, and so I'm sure there'll be questions on here, and we'll answer those questions for you. But what I want to talk about is the fact that we've changed the way that we did evacuations in the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, if you look on the left, we have the old way of doing it. We would take a huge block, and we would say 6301 Alpha, get it out. 6301 Bravo, tell them they need to get out, right? But we might only need this little tiny chunk from what was there telling people that they need to leave their home. On the right, you have what's called the Genesis program. And what was used that day is we're trying to do it. If you look at it, it follows the contours of the streets. We worked 2.5 years throughout the state of California to set this system up so we can specifically take out areas that are going to help with ingress and egress. And I know there was a lot of issues with trying to get out of the neighborhoods and in between, and we'll talk about that. But one of the main things that I can say moving forward for us is that the system we're using now is far and ahead better than we did before. Other things that you have are WIA alerts that go out there to you, that go to your phones. You might be in that closest area. Genesis itself, EVAC, has its own app that you can use too to see what's going on in your zone. Social media, I'll be honest, I don't have social media. My daughter does, she has tons of it. But I don't have social media, but there is social media platforms that you can look for us. Alert San Diego. And more than anything else is boots on the ground. And I say that because as much as you're getting that alert or anything else, San Diego PD was doing a phenomenal job of trying to get out there and tell people to get out. They're using, if you listen for a high-low siren, a high-low siren means it is time to go. Okay, that's one of the things. They're down there trying to knock on doors, ensuring that everybody's getting out of their houses, because we never know whether you have your cell phone with you, whether you even have a cell phone, and you're even getting that alert. So, and the overhead announcements that are occurring. So we'll cover that later. So in the end, if you look at the picture on the left, that was a picture taken from Coronado. at the inception of the fire, okay? So what it does is it hits the inversion layer. You see how the cloud is flattening out, and then it pops through? That means there's huge heat behind that fire. There's a lot of energy that is pushing that fire forward. And I can tell you from looking at the picture on the left, comparative to the picture on the right. The picture on the right is what was actually burned. Okay, so it's roughly 39, I'm gonna say 40, it's easier to say. Roughly 39 acres to 40 acres that were taken out on that side, but if you look at the picture on the left comparative to what we actually lost, we lost dirt, right? We did lose a home, and I'm sorry for that, okay? I never want to lose a house, ever want to lose a house. But if you look at what we lost that middle part of the dirt, and I'm happy that everyone is here today, one, to learn about occurred so we can tell you what occurred, but also to learn what to do in the future so we can be better as a community, to be safer, and ensure that we're moving forward. I'm done with my side. I'm going to bring up Assistant Fire Marshal Alex Kane. He's going to talk about a number of items right now.